Hey guys, it's me, Danny, and on this episode, I've got a really cool interview for you. If you're thinking about going into the United States Marine Corps, well, you need to watch this interview because I'm going to be talking to a current United States Marine Corps drill instructor to give you all the details on what you need to know before going to Marine Corps boot camp. It's all on this episode of Everything 101. Let's get to it. All right, guys. So welcome back to Everything 101. So I have a really cool guest with me on this episode. I am with Gunnery Sergeant Jose Flores, United States Marine Corps. Gunny, thanks for hanging out with me on this episode, brother.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So you are currently a drill instructor in the Marine Corps, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So you're out of San Diego.
Yes.
Okay. So really what I want to do today is I want to help as many people as I can who are thinking about going into the Marine Corps. They're planning, maybe they're getting ready to raise their arm and take the oath. First of all, can I ask you what made you join the Marine Corps?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting story because I never really had endeavors of actually joining. It's not like it was a childhood goal. I actually never even thought about it. I think I had at one point, I had a little interest joining the Air Force just because my dad was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
But growing, small kid, small town kid, grew up poor. The first thing that was kind of instilled in me was college. Just like most of us was, you need to go to college, you need to get that secondary education. So that was kind of planted on me from the very beginning. So that was kind of like my guide. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I started high school, started improving my grades. I think I was in my senior year. This is a small town in southern Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go to my dream college, Texas State in San Marcos, which is located in the South Texas. And as I was entering my senior year, it was maybe around the fall, I applied to that, a couple other colleges. I finally got accepted. That was my dream college.
Mm-hmm.
But as weird as it was, once I got that letter, opened it up, and everybody around me was getting their acceptance letters that were, filled with enthusiasm. I opened that letter and I'd say, you've been approved. But I was not as excited as I thought it would be. I kind of felt like I wasn't fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened it, I read it, shared the news with my family, friends, loved ones. And they were excited, but I just didn't feel fulfilled. I just felt like something was missing.
Yeah.
Carried out my plan. And then I actually, it's a funny story because I was actually walking through the gymnasium there in senior year. And they had one of those college fairs where they had all the booths, everything set up.
Yeah, right.
One of my friends. And I noticed that there were some of my peers, because I was in a football team. Some of my peers were on the floor doing push-ups. So I kind of looked around, scouting, like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Now, and they're doing a challenge to do 30 push-ups for a dog tag. It was a Marine Corps dog tag.
Nice.
So I look up and I see the Marine recruiter. He's in his dress blue delta. It's very, very sharp. That's the first thing that I was like, wow, he looks really, really sharp, very disciplined. From his hair to his grooming standards, physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Had the bulging biceps. He just looked like a States Marine.
Yeah.
But because we're from a small town, we never really seen it. So I was like, all right, that's cool. And I was like, what are we doing? And we're like, maybe like in a little state of cockiness at the time. I was like, I'm not getting down to do no push-ups.
Yeah.
And then the Marine recruiter looks at me and he hands me one. And then so I was like, well, I'm not going to do push-ups. He was like, no, you don't need to do them. He goes, I can tell, I can spot a Marine, applicant when I see great Marine. I was like, yeah, you're out of your mind.
Wow.
Way the world I would join the United States Marine Corps.
Yeah.
One, particularly because I didn't know anything about it. But two, this was in 2007 where we were at hot in the war of Iraq. And that's was around on the headlines, newspapers.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, there's no way I would ever join the United States Marines. And he was like, well, you don't know anything about it. And then he said, well, I'll tell you what, tomorrow I'm going to be back. Let's meet in the library. Give me 15 minutes of your time. And I can show you what the Marine Corps could do for you. You know, the, the, the typical recruiter lines. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll see what I got going on, but I'm a busy guy. Give me a dog tag, he leaves, but then I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, what is the, or, Googling it, looking into it. I'm like, wow, that's interesting, but I'm set on my college.
Yeah.
I tell my girlfriend and I tell my parents that night, and they're like, yeah, no way. Like, you join the Marines, or even think about sitting with that recruiter, like, we'll disown you. My girlfriend was like, you join the Marines, I'm going to leave you. And, we're in high school, so we think we're in love. So I was like, yeah. It's not. And completely forgot about it. So the next day I was coming in and passing the library. I completely forgot about the appointment that I'd set up. And as I'm walking through, I see the Marine recruiter. He's standing there. I walk past him. I'm holding my girlfriend's hands. We just continue walking. And then right before we get outside the library, the door, like something like stops me. I'm literally 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I tell, like, let me just, he came all this way. He drove an hour to see me. Like, let me just see what he has to say, so at least I can. And then, so I was like, she was like, yeah, again, if you join, I'm leaving you. So let her go, come back. And I think that step back changed my life.
Yeah.
So I started talking to him, and seems like, what is your plan? I got to go to college, the whole American dream, go to college, get a great job, get a degree, get a great career, make money, get a car, start a family, But what really captured my attention, to answer your question, what made me join the Marines, was the stepping stones that he kind of applied and showed me. He said, well, you want to go to college, what are you going on, like, on an athletic scholarship? Like, what happens if you get hurt? Because football players, athletes, they get hurt. Like, what is your backup plan? I didn't have one.
Yeah.
Like, what about retirement? Like, you're 19 or you're 17 right now. Well, what, 40, 50 years down the road, what does your retirement look like? I was like, I don't have one. He was like, what about medical, dental? Like, once you turn 18, you're no longer supported by your parents. And I said, well, I guess I didn't figure that out either. He's like, what about a car? Do you have a car? Like, I don't. How much money do you have saved for cars? Like, I don't have money. So he just continued just poking holes in my plan.
Yeah.
So what made me realize was that I had an idea, but I didn't have a plan. Mm-hmm. So when he started showing me what the Marine Corps can apply and what could offer me, wasn't just the tangibles, but the intangibles, the self, the pride of belonging, self-discipline, the things that the more I look into it, that void that I was talking about earlier, when I received that acceptance letters, I start to find, like, he was like, I know you got accepted to your dream college. He did his homework. He was like, I know you got accepted. He goes, but you don't feel fulfilled. You feel like you're meant for something more. He goes, and this is it. And it really started to, like, hit home. Yeah. He goes, that's why that day at the library, I didn't make you do push-ups, because I already knew who you are. I know that you're capable of doing this. I know you want something more. So from there, I just got hooked. I became obsessed with it. I started looking at the videos, the commercials, and another thing that kind of ironically drew me to the Marines was the fact that nobody wanted me to join. My coaches said no, girlfriend said no, parents said no, my teacher like, don't do it. Yeah. So the more they were trying to pull me away, made me like, well, let me take that leap of faith. When everybody that you grew up and loved is telling you no, out of fear and out of the unknown, you kind of, for me, maybe like, well, let me take that leap of faith and see what it has to offer. So that's what really, really made me join, was one, for a deeper sense to give back, to fill that void that I felt, and just to be part of something different. It was the first Marine in my family, so to kind of paint that new legacy and start a challenge. So that's why.
Awesome. So I recently did a video on the top things that you need to know when you're getting ready to go to boot camp. And of course, that's just based on my opinion, my experience. I'm also talking to the guys who were my drill instructors. It's kind of weird, man. My platoon, we did a 10-year reunion, a 15, a 20, and a 25-year reunion with my boot camp platoon. Drill instructors were there. It's pretty cool. And I see them now. Of course, we were terrified of them when we were recruits, but now they're friends of mine. And I'm getting their take as well. But, that's been 1989. And so I really want to get your take on what's up with it now. What's going on now? What do you think what's the biggest thing they need to know right now before going to Marine Corps boot camp?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say with my experience, both as a recruit and now as a drill instructor, is the believe it or not, is team building. Is working as one. And the reason I say that is because now that we have, even now that the females are coming to San Diego, we have individuals that are from, all parts of the states. And they're coming with different morals, different ideas, different, society has changed so much these days that you're coming in with a whole different perspective, different background, different culture. So when you get here, you might have thought you were the best from wherever you came from. You might have been best in Wisconsin, you might have been the best in Texas, best California. Then you come in and you realize that you're not as good as you thought you were, or maybe what you thought was right. You come here and you find out like, yeah, it's not right to be prejudiced, or you came thinking like it was okay to, get away with the bare minimum, and now that bare minimum is going to get you killed. It's coming here, consolidating and working as one, and without that teamwork aspect, obviously the platoon pays as a whole. If somebody messes up, there's one or two. It's not those one or two that get singled out, because we, from the very beginning, and recruit training design like that, is to take away your identity. So we strip your identity, and then build you back up from the very, very ground. And I think that's right now is what we're noticing is the number one dilemma, is that they're not willing to first let go of their old ways, burn the old bad habits. And then, well, with others is there's just a lot of friction, a lot of bumping heads, a lot of recruits coming in not understanding that it's the whole team aspect. A lot of people were individuals and be great at what they did, but now coming working as a team, understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, how to feed off of their rack mates' strength and weaknesses. So I would say that, to answer your question, the hardest thing and the most important thing you need to know is that, one, be open-minded, work as a team. The quicker you're able to come into a platoon, to a unit, and adapt, let go, and be open-minded and learn and work as a team, that is the quickest way to gain success in recruit training now.
Awesome. So what would you recommend in terms of knowledge? Like, recruits coming in, I know when my recruiter got me in, he said, Evans, I want you to learn all your general orders, and I want you to learn them this week. And he just drilled that knowledge side of it. So when I got to Parris Island, I knew all my general orders. There was a lot of history stuff I already knew. Do you recommend people now getting a jump start on that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with your recruiter. I would just add the rank structure. If as far as knowledge, coming in with, yes, the basic general orders and the rank structure, if you get those two down prior to shipping out, that you'll be well ahead of the game. And that, well, the history and the rest of the life-saving steps, all that, we'll teach you that over here. That's not something that we necessarily need you, but what is the common denominator? It is the rank structure, and it is the general orders, because that's never going to change. So if you could master those two, so when you get here, and then those first 2 weeks we're going over that, you already know that you can start leaning to now more history, more patient, more drill. Like, that would just free up your time to further advance in the other knowledge. So yeah, I would agree. General orders, and then your rank structure.
Okay, that's good knowledge. Good info. So in terms of physical, I think one of the biggest things that anybody needs to do is to be in the best shape you can, because you and I both know that when somebody is physically stressed to their limit, a lot of times that equals, I want to quit. So what do they need to be able to do? Mile and a half, what is it, before they arrive?
Yeah, so right now the standard initial strength test is a mile and a half and at 1330.
Mhm.
Uh, you want to be able to do about a minimum of 60 crunches in the 2 minutes. The bare minimum is 44, but 44 is like you're remember that first week you're like you have not slept, so you're already sleep deprived. And then your pull-ups you want to be doing the minimum of five.
Mhm.
And again, that is just to get your ticket to pick up with the train company.
Yeah.
But even before those three, I would say that the most important thing, physical fitness wise, believe it or not, is being flexible and stretching. So
Oh,
just
wow.
being stretching, and I'd say because even the most strongest guys, 20 plus pull-ups, 9 minute mile and a half, 100 crunches. What we're noticing now is a lot of recruits are coming with the good standards, but because they're not stretching, they're not flexible, we're enduring a lot of lower extremity issues and injuries. So within the first 2 weeks, they burn through the body, and now they're suffering an IT band or some kind of fracture. So I would say because we are going to push you to your limit, um, yes, being the best shape of your life, but be very flexible and spend a good amount of time stretching your body so that you're preparing it for the rigorous the physical training. So
Yeah.
I would say the stretching and flexibility over um, everything else, because everything else we're going to teach you here is just you don't get a whole lot of time to stretch, and we don't really stress the importance of it, as recruiters. But I think that's one thing that we should.
Yeah. That makes sense. So a lot of people, well, I think anybody that's gone to boot camp is going to talk about how mean their drill instructors were. And I mean, I think that's just part of Marine Corps tradition. It's the way we do it. But um, it's hard to understand when you're in boot camp. But when I look back, I realize how much my drill instructors, and I'm talking over 30 years later now, um, I realize how much they instilled in me in terms of discipline, and even in just in normal tasks. I remember my heavy used to say, smooth is fast, smooth is fast. And teaching you in that moment of stress to think clearly, and when you think clearly, you're smooth and you do things fast and efficiently. I mean, even things like that. So it's hard to believe, but drill instructors really do care about the recruits. And
Absolutely.
it's a weird relationship because they're mean, but they really do care, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that. Oh, absolutely. Anybody who's a drone instructor, to that to execute this profession, you have to have an extreme amount of passion, not just for the core and what you're doing, but the product that we're producing.
Yeah.
Uh, and the mean and the really strong demeanor comes from that, because essentially as we're training these recruits, we know that we're training the future. We're training our replacements. We're putting whatever product we're sending out to the operating forces, or forward deploy later on. We know that that was a product of us.
Right.
We do absolutely care 100%, and we are stern, very very. We preach discipline, because ultimately everything that's good, that could be the matter of life or death. With your discipline, and it not only carries into your Marine Corps career, but life in general.
Yeah.
So we really drive that in. Um, and I always tell like my other recruits that essentially we know them better than their parents, because we'll break them down. We're not afraid to. It's hard for a child or for a parent to yell at their child to the breaking point where they're almost going to physically pass out. Like it's hard. Even as a father myself, I can never yell at my son the way I do with the recruit.
Yeah.
But because he signed an oath, he signed a contract that he may give his life one day. We're going to put him through that to that breaking point and be tough on him, demand from him, and then back off when we know he's about to reach his breaking point. And then he realized that he just, increased. He just brought in his horizon. He knows his new capability. He knows his new potential.
Yeah.
That just unlocks, a world of discipline on its own. And I would say that their ambition. So yes, we come off very, very mean, very passionate. Um, that is a role we play, but it absolutely 100% comes from the heart and passion.
Awesome. Yeah, I look back now and, especially when I talked to my senior drill instructor, I realized, I mean, how much this guy really did care about us. And and I was not a drill instructor, but I would think that as a drill instructor, like you said, you're looking at these recruits as your future fellow Marines. And so I think that would just instill a lot of care in itself. Um, so what I think just one quick thing I want to ask, when people arrive at recruit training, I think sometimes they're taken by surprise because they can expect very little sleep that first day, right? Is that still the case?
Yes, yeah, yeah. The first week is very strenuous because we're getting a process here. We're getting now with the whole COVID protocols. Now we're putting them in a separate hotel. So yeah, expect very little sleep because of the administrative work that we have to do,
Mhm.
issuing your supplies and your gear, um, and then just the logistics part of it. So yeah, it is still a thing. Um, and some recruits have never experienced that. Coming here, they're used to their 9, 8, 10 hours of sleep. So when they come here and they get 4, it just shatters the world, and they don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. It's definitely adjustment. It's kind of like the moment of like, why did I do this? But things pan out. Things pan out and they get used to the routine and they're glad they did, I think. But well, I want to wrap up with one quick thing and just by saying congratulations. I believe that the Marine Corps is such a strong foundation for successes in the future. And you are working on your doctorate right now, correct?
Right. Yes.
Awesome. And so I read your story. Now, remind me again, are you going to be the youngest? What's remember you were achieving something in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. As of right now, I'm gonna be until another statistic proves otherwise. Right now, I'm on pace to be the youngest enlisted Marine to go from high school diploma to doctorate degree while serving active duty. All while being in with no prior college.
Gotcha.
Um, that's right now what the historical pace they were on right
Awesome.
now.
That's great. Well, I want to wish you best of luck with your doctorate. I look forward to seeing Dr. Flores someday. And I've gotten my doctorate as well. And it is, for me, I don't know about you, but to me, if I had not done it, I would have known that there was something I could have achieved that I didn't do. And
Yes.
I think that standard in the Marine Corps was like, no, man, you got to go, you got to go. So I did it, and I'm glad I did, and I know you will be too. So,
Thank you.
yeah, well, congratulations, and hey, I just want to thank you again for hanging out. I know this is going to help a lot of people that are getting ready to go in. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right, I want to give a special thanks to Gunnery Sergeant Flores for joining us on this episode of Everything 101. Hey, if you like what you're seeing on this channel, be sure to click subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you never miss any of our great content. We got videos about everything. So just go ahead and click subscribe. I'd appreciate it. You know you want to. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode of Everything 101.